Hello, welcome to CIA News Analysis. Tomorrow's crypto news today. Happy New Year to everybody out there. I hope you had a great holiday season, and most importantly, I hope you grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ this year. In our first article, we see that Samsung seeks UK trademark for cryptocurrency wallet. The article says that South Korean electronics giant Samsung is apparently seeking a trademark in the United Kingdom for a cryptocurrency wallet with the UK Intellectual Property Office. Now, in the classes and terms section of the application, Samsung cites such developments as computer software for use as a cryptocurrency wallet, computer software for cryptocurrency transfer and payment using blockchain technology, computer application software for smartphones, namely software to allow users to transfer cryptocurrency based on blockchain technology and pay via third-party application software. And if you remember, we saw that HTC integrated decentralized browser Brave on their HTC Exodus 1 phone, and we know that Sirin Labs launched its smartphone Finny, which actually has a cold storage crypto wallet and provides encrypted communications. Now, what we see here is the actual mainstream infrastructure and ecosystem being patented and being trademarked. So it's in the process of being built. And we know that most people access the internet through their smartphone or tablet, not through a desktop or laptop. So the fact that HTC, Samsung, these big smartphone and tablet makers are so aggressive with their patents and with their trademarks for cryptocurrency technology and proprietary software applications that's going to allow you to interact with that technology is actually a very bullish thing that's going on right now. A very good trend to look at and say, okay, well, are we going to put this technology in people's hands, or are they going to have to go seek it out, like how it was in 2016, 2017? If you wanted cryptocurrency, you had to know where to go. You had to seek it out. Well, in a couple of years, you might buy a phone from the store, and all of a sudden there's an app on there that just lets you buy cryptocurrency. You see, that's how these things work, and all these proprietary applications and trademarks and patents, all that is being worked out right now, and in the next 3 to 5 years, as this software starts to be implemented on the phones, well, then mainstream mass adoption and use cases are going to go through the roof. In our next article, we see the Motley Fool. They say, forget Bitcoin, this market crash could be an opportunity to make $1 million. We're going to find out in this article that the Motley Fool is literally a fool. Let's see what he says. He says, with the Bitcoin price having fallen by over 80% in the last year, many investors seem to be wondering if now is the right time to buy the virtual currency. Yes. While this is a noble aim in terms of trying to buy an asset after it has declined, since it could offer a more favorable price, the reality is that the stock market may offer a stronger long-term investment opportunity. This is due to the inherent challenges associated with investing in Bitcoin in terms of its lack of fundamentals and real-world application, as well as the long-term growth potential which a range of stocks currently offer. Therefore, investors may be better off forgetting Bitcoin and buying stocks right now. Well, folks, that is literally the opposite of the truth. This guy is so far off, I don't even know where to begin. And just to be honest with you, this is like my 10th take on this video because I don't know how to rebut all of the lies and misinformation in this crappy article, but I'll try my best. The article says, forget Bitcoin, this market crash could be an opportunity to make $1 million. Well, first of all, this is not a market crash, okay? The market is 15, maybe 20% in some indexes off the top, which is arguably a correction, not a crash. So wrong. And then off of that information, he tells you right now, therefore, investors may be better off forgetting Bitcoin buying stocks right now. Oh no, 15%, 20% backwards is not a correction. It's a crash. And right now is the best opportunity to buy stocks. You know what I hear? Who wants to hold my bags? Who wants to hold my bags? Please buy my bags so that I can place my shorts. That's what I hear in this article. Anyway, moving on from the title, on to the next crappy assessment. He says that the reality is that the stock market may offer a stronger long-term investment opportunity. Let me just go ahead and say this right here, as somebody who's been doing a little bit more writing as of recently. Anybody who speaks with these kind of terms is already not a good person, okay? He says the reality is, what does that mean? That means the truth, the facts is that the stock market may offer. Well, hold on. If the reality is that the stocks are better than Bitcoin, then why may they offer? Don't they offer it better? You're second guessing yourself in your own writing, and we can see right through it. We're not falling for your lies. The reality is that the stock market does not offer a stronger long-term investment opportunity. The stock market is barely off of its all-time highs, and right now within the market cycle of the stock market, we're probably somewhere in between thrill and euphoria. Thrill and euphoria. Again, to get the CIA outlook on the traditional markets, take a look at our Trump bump special report. We believe that riding Trump policy, we've seen Trump come out and say that the Fed is going too fast with interest rates. He wants to slow those things down, but he never said anything about stop printing money. So if we see continued quantitative easing and a halt on the raising of interest rates or even lowering that back down again, we can see that in combination with financial technology merging with the traditional system, upgrading that system, along with the fear of missing out mentality of the mainstream investors to run the Dow Jones all the way up to 45,000 points. The problem is that soon after that, now you're in the euphoria stage of that cycle, and that's what happens next. What goes up must come down, and all cycles will always go through the entire cycle, and the market will come down. That's again why in the Trump bump report we recently did our update, because there's enough bells and whistles going on. Again, approaching that 15 to 20% pullback correction bear market territory, that we have an update for our market hedges. There's enough bells and whistles going off to play this low risk, high reward hedge on the market actually going into the complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, and anger stages, which we would also call a crash, unlike the motley fool who thinks a 15 to 20% correction is a crash and represents an opportunity for investors to forget Bitcoin and buy stocks right now. He also says this is due to the inherent challenges associated with investing in Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. But that's one of the things that makes Bitcoin a great investment. If everybody could easily access Bitcoin right now and purchase it, well, then it would already be mainstream. It would already be easily adopted. What makes it such a good investment is its long-term potential, is the mass adoption use case for Bitcoin and what it's designed to do. And articles like Samsung applying for patents and HTC upgrading to their blockchain Brave browser system to interact with Bitcoin and Ethereum networks, this is the beginning of the ecosystem and the proprietary software applications that are going to be given to the masses so that each and every person can get their cut as basically a broker of these cryptocurrencies and the services between these cryptocurrencies. The system's being built right now, and stocks are arguably hyperinflated. Again, look where we are. This is the all-time chart. Look where we are. Okay? Anything that goes up is lifting the bar higher. Look where cryptocurrency is. Anything moving forward is just capturing a market and using technology to do it in a better, easier, safer, more secure way. All stock markets at $66.8 trillion market cap and bubble, and all money at $83.6 trillion. So stock markets are a huge market, and he's saying there's bigger long-term growth in stock markets. What are the stock markets going to outgrow all the money in the world, all the assets and real property in the world? I don't think so. I look at Bitcoin and I see Bitcoin at 41 billion right now, and I say, wow, with Bitcoin and the combination of blockchain, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things, and the technological shift that we see coming for the future economy because of this failing inflationary debt-based system, it seems to me that it's common sense. Bitcoin has more long-term growth potential and will eventually overtake the stock market, 66.8, and be going in after the digitization of assets. All money and all markets will most likely be organized and controlled on a blockchain. And the governments will be okay with it because they'll be able to tax each and every transaction. Long-term growth potential is not in the already oversized, overpriced, hyperinflated stock market. It's within the new emerging digital asset class, Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital currency. I can't even go any further in this because then I'm really going to start to get angry, and that's just going to be embarrassing. But you can see how misleading and just opinionated this is based off of lies, not truth, lies. And then to use such language as the stock market may offer, mean what you say what you mean, and never back down. And if you don't, people are going to be able to see right through you as just a shill that you are. In our last article, we see that Wells Fargo says Bitcoin too risky for clients, but then pays $575 million fine for scamming those very same clients. What a great article this is. It says Wells Fargo, the third largest bank in the U.S. with $2 trillion in assets, will pay a $575 million settlement after admitting that it systematically scammed its own customers for 15 years. It systematically scammed its own customers for 15 years. Ironically, the fine comes just months after the banking giant dismissed Bitcoin as too risky of an investment. You know what's too risky? To leave your money in Wells Fargo. You know what's too risky? To be working with these people. And you know what? People are waking up to it. People know that they can't trust the banks anymore. But you know what? The banks know that too. And that is why they are ready to replace the inflationary debt-based systems. Look at the debt bubble that we have in the world today. Every single country, trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. The debt bubble is about to pop. And when it pops, the system will crash because it's not any longer sustainable, and it's not backed by gold or silver. It's backed by the full faith and credit of governments and people. Well, what happens when the government fails and the people don't have faith? The system fails. The banks know this, and they have financed and created the blockchain technology, digital currency systems right now. And that's why we see backed with every institution, including banking institutions who profit working off of with these institutions, making regulations that they all agree on, rules and regulations, and submitting them to the U.S. government, the CFTC, for approval. They know what's going on with this system, and they created and financed and bankrolled and invested in the ecosystem we see being created right now, and they're the benefactors of all the big systems. We just said, isn't it great news that Samsung is incorporating and patenting crypto technology? Well, yeah, I guess it is kind of great news for hodlers, but aren't they the same evil corporations that put blue light in your cell phone to attack different brain waves and different things like that? I mean, come on. It's not gonna change, all right? The people who have the power and the wealth and the prestige, the love of money is the root of all evil, and they're not going to give it up. They're just going to switch systems, and they're going to switch from the inflationary system where they robbed from you to a deflationary system that should empower the users, including themselves, who have been involved at least with backed in the institution level since 2014. And some of these banks, the very banks that warn you to stay away from it as too risky of an investment, even as close as 2011 and 2012. The article goes on, pursuant to a nationwide federal investigation, Wells Fargo admitted that its employees opened more than 3.5 million sham unauthorized bank and credit card accounts in customers' names between 2002 and 2017. So absolutely disgusting. This just shows you why the banks can't be trusted. But look at the effect of what this has on the market with people who have influence in the social media sphere. Here's one right here, and I like this guy. He says, Wells Fargo is paying over $500 million to stop all 50 states from questioning their nefarious activities. Small penalty given the bank made $88 billion in revenue last year. Long Bitcoin, short the bankers. Well said. I agree with you. But what I want to point out is that the very same bankers are the ones who are bankrolling and financing cryptocurrency. And even though Bitcoin is decentralized right now, all it takes is a few big players coming in, making a few different handshakes, and it's no longer decentralized. And then you combine that technology with the law, and voila! If you're not following the rules, if you're not doing what the state says, then you're not able to participate. You're no longer allowed to buy and sell. That's what I'm trying to warn people about this financial system, because that's where it's going to go. And even though it's freedom from the corrupt debt-based banking system now, in the long term, it's even more of a control system. But look what people continue to say. Guess who doesn't have branch employees that can cause massive damages because of their greed and incompetence? Bitcoin. Hey, again, I agree. That's absolutely right. You can trust the code. You don't have to trust a banker at Wells Fargo or a banker at Goldman Sachs. You can trust the code. Well, how many people are just going to trust the code? Well, how many people trust the narrative about 9/11? How many people trust the narrative about vaccines? How many people trust the narrative about banking? How many people just go ahead and just trust that narrative? Well, they're just going to go ahead and trust the narrative, and they're going to trust the code. But if you go look at the code, what you'll find within the code, there's an algorithmic change that cyclically adjusts the inflation rate. Now, in the traditional markets, the central banks mess with different things to fight inflation. And in the deflationary Bitcoin cryptocurrency market, they automatically adjust inflation through the code, which you're supposed to trust, in order to create these same boom and bust cycles. More on that later in our report, Cryptonomics. Well, that's it for today, guys. It's a crazy world we live in. It's truly the Twilight Zone. Again, Happy New Year, God bless, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support.